we're going to get started and put stuff on our SharePoint. To do that, let's first create a document library. So we could use the document library that we already have available because this one is created by default with each SharePoint site. But I want to show you how to create a new one. So to create a new one, you can just click New from the home page, Document Library. Here, you will have the choices between creating a blank library, creating a library from an existing library, or using one of Microsoft's templates. You also have templates available from your organization, which is not the case here. But for now, let's just create a blank library. Let's call it My First Library. You can add a description here if you want to. I'm not going to, it's not necessarily needed. And here you can check whether or not you want it to show in the site navigation. In this case, let's just keep it as yes and click Create. Now you can see that My First Library appears in the site navigation, and by default it opened the library for me. Here I can just click New, I can create folders, or I can create directly one of the available Office 365 file tabs. So let's create an Excel, for example. It will open by default Excel Online, where I can type stuff. Let's type test 1, for example. And here on the top left, you can see that by default it is saved. So whatever changes you make on an Excel in SharePoint, by default it will be saved automatically. You don't necessarily have to click save every time. So that's a good plus as well. I can also rename it. Let's call it First Excel file. Perfect. If I exit out of this, it will save it. To close it, we just have to close the tab, and let's do a quick refresh to see. Now it appears here as First Excel file. You can also upload files directly from your computer by clicking Upload, selecting Files, Folders directly if you want to, or you can also upload templates, and if you upload a template, it will directly be available under New here, and people can start using your template here. As simple as that. You can also drag and drop directly your folders or files in SharePoint. I don't have any example files right now, but it should be pretty easy to do. Also, one thing to keep in mind is on SharePoint Online, you can upload folders directly. On older versions of SharePoint, it's not necessarily available. That's one of the drawbacks of the older versions of SharePoint. If you're using one of those, you're going to have to use an additional tool, and SharePoint does not provide that right away. Now, let's imagine I want to create a new library, and let's imagine that I have metadata here already built in my library, so I don't want to have to recreate that manually. So I'm going to create a library that copies the settings of the existing library. To do that, you can either go back to the home page, or you can go to Site Contents to find the New button again. So let's click New, Document Library again. And here I can just select from existing library. And here it will actually allow me to go to other sites I have access to and pick libraries from other sites that I might want to reuse for this site. In this case, I'm going to keep it within the M365 course homepage site and select My First Library here as a source. Click Next. It will, of course, ask me to rename the library because it's already using this name. Let's call it My Second Library. And let's uncheck here. I don't want it to show in the navigation, and click Create. Perfect. Now My Second Library is created. In this case, it didn't really make sense because we didn't create any column that the library might have picked up. But once we talk about metadata and we start using it later in this course, you will see a sense in using this feature. Let me just show you one thing. In Site Contents now, you see all the contents that I have, and you can also see My First Library and My Second Library. So whatever you're not seeing in the homepage here will show in Site Contents. I will show you later in this course how to modify this navigation and recreate a link to the second library that is not showing on top here.